Hello, everyone. Good day. This is Jeanette Jordy at Global Inspiration. I am so excited to introduce our guest today, because our guest was born as a he and grow up as a she. Yes, she is a transgender. She is a beautiful practicing lawyer in Davao City, Philippines, and her story is very inspiring because of her strength and courageousness for coming out, considering that she belonged to a Muslim as her religion. In the Philippines, LGBTQ is slowly starting to be accepted. And for those viewers who don't know what this LGBTQ means, it means lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer. Our guest is born in Cotabato to Father General Ibrahim Sema, the first Secretary General of MNLF, or the Moro National Liberation Front, and Mother Bainon Karen, former Vice Governor of ARM, and ARM stands for Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, and a current Member of Parliament, BARM, BARMM, which stands for Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao. Our guest went to the University of the Philippines, Diliman, for her college degree and got her law degree at Ateneo de Davao University, or Ateneo de Davao College of Law. She became a lawyer in June of 2016 and is currently a junior partner at YAP, Librado, Principe, and Silongan Law Office in Davao City. Our guest has an older sister but is now married, and she has 3 wonderful and beautiful dogs. Ladies and gentlemen, let's all welcome Attorney Ibs Silongan. Hello, Ibs. Good morning. Good morning. Good evening,
Hello.
there.
It's good evening here. Good morning, sis Janet.
Yeah.
Good evening to all to your viewers and to your supporters in your channel.
Yeah. Thank you very much. So I am curious, and for the sake of the viewers, where are you in the Philippines? I mentioned you were born in Cotabato, but you are practicing in Davao. So are you in Davao right now?
Yes, I live in Davao. I practice in Davao City. This is the hometown of the President of the Republic of the Philippines.
Exactly.
And yes, and I also practice here
Okay.
in Davao City.
You said you went to University of the Philippines, Diliman, for your college degree. Did you work,
Mm-hmm.
or are you playing full-time student?
I was pretty much a full-time student in UP Diliman,
Okay.
and right after that, I just went straight to I went straight back home, but we moved to Davao City, and then that is where I took up my law degree.
Okay. So you rested and then you proceeded to law, correct? So you said you practice law in Davao. Can you share with the viewers
Yes.
your focus or your concentration?
Basically, the law practice in the Philippines is very much different from the United States. In the United States, it's very specialized. In the Philippines, we're like jack of all trades. So we do corporate law, criminal, civil. It's very much it's pretty much everything here. We practice almost every kind of lawyering in the
Yeah, okay.
office.
That's good. And I know you belong to the YAP, Librado, Principe, Silongan Law Office. Yeah. So when I was thinking of guests that I will feature in the show, I was thinking of you, and my heart was really like, I want you to be a guest of the show because your story is very inspiring. You are a transgender and you're so open about it, and you're so strong and in everything.
Mm-hmm.
For the sake of our viewers, can you differentiate between a gay and a trans in your own words, in your own opinion?
Well, yeah. I think this is a community definition of gay and transgender is that when you're gay, it's a general term for a male or a female who is not stereotypically who does not stereotypically belong to the the male or the female category.
Okay.
Because we identify or express ourselves with the opposite sex
Mm-hmm.
most usually. So a gay guy is somebody who identifies with a not necessarily identify with. There are a lot of gay people, not necessarily trans, so it can cover bisexual, it can cover transsexuals, all the different members of the whole range of sexuality. But when you're a transgender, it's a specific term applied to um, somebody who identifies with the opposite sex, and the gender expression is also that of the opposite sex. So if you're a male, your gender expression is that of a female or feminine, or if you're female, your gender expression is that of a feminine or
Okay.
a masculine. I'm sorry.
Okay. That is fine. So when you feel, what age did you feel that you're different? That you think you belong to the opposite sex?
To this I think my earliest recollection was, I think as far as when I started having consciousness, I think I'd
Oh,
never I think there was never a time that I felt like I was a guy.
oh, that's good.
Yeah, I think ever since I was, maybe when I was still a fetus, I already felt like I was different.
So your mother
Yeah.
and father knows about this when you are young.
Actually, my dad died when I was 2 years old,
Oh,
so I wasn't, my sexual expression didn't come out yet at that time. So and he died early, so he didn't really get to
okay.
witness how I evolved. My mother, on the other hand, she was always out of town,
Mm-hmm.
so she didn't really during that time, like I said, she was part of the my mother was also part of the Moro National Liberation Front,
Mm-hmm.
so she was pretty much away from home, and she didn't really get to see those
Yeah.
things. It was, yeah, it was mostly my grandmother and my cousins and my uncles who were around me, who witnessed, I think that I was different. And I think um, the very first revelation that I was different was, um, there is usually when you're in a Muslim community, you are exposed to an
Okay.
Arabic school. It's called the
Correct.
madrasa.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then I think during one of the activities, the girls started practicing their dance, and I was trying to join. And then my Lola, my grandmother, said that no,
Mm-hmm.
you can't do that because that's for girls.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's where when we discovered or had a revelation that, oh,
Yeah.
I am different.
Yeah, you're different. So how young were you?
I think at that time I think I was around 5 or 4.
Okay, so
I was
what
still
was
with my grandma at that
yeah,
time.
so what was the reaction of your family or your friends, your neighbors when they know that you're different?
Uh,
Did they bully you?
I'm
No.
no. Actually, there. I don't really recall memories of pronounced bullying when I was a kid, but there were, there were questions. Are you gay? They would confront you directly,
Yes.
and then I don't know. It didn't really matter. It was only, I think, when I was in high school, when I was in college, when I started, confronting myself,
Correct. Correct.
that I had the, moments of problem and depression.
Yeah. And I know it is hard because I have a confession to make to the viewers that my son, Jai, is also a gay. And I told him
Oh.
yesterday that I will be interviewing a trans, and I asked him if I could share with the viewers that you're a gay. And then he said, it's okay, that's fine. You tell the world that I am gay. So
Hmm.
I am letting you guys,
Yes,
my friends, know that he's a gay. And he is proud of being that. Um,
that's good to know.
yeah. So Can you share with the viewers at least two challenges and two accomplishments being a transgender?
Two challenges. I think the first one, the hardest one, would be confronting my family.
Yes.
I demanded acceptance from them because I would be living in, I lived until very late with my mother.
Okay.
So if we were going to be in the same roof, if we were going to see each other almost every day, Philippines is a very small country, so the chances of bumping into each other is like every day. So I didn't want to hide.
Correct.
I didn't want to hide. So I confronted them, and then thankfully, I got them to. We got a deal, and then we sort of accepted each other. And then I think the second challenge is, okay, now that I'm accepted, how do I go out into the world,
Right,
knowing that these are the consequences of my choice or my decision to not hide and
correct,
be who I am.
correct.
As to the accomplishment, I think that it was my being able to find a niche or find a profession or find a I think I'm pretty much comfortable where I am now,
Okay,
working, and I have a life, and I have a nice job, and I think that's pretty much an accomplishment. I mean, I consider it an accomplishment because being a transgender, there's a lot of challenges.
correct.
if if um if I broke down for every time that I was put down
Mhm.
by society or by the comments of others or bullying, I wouldn't be where I am now. But I got through all that, and I'm proud to say, I made it. So
Thank
I
you.
think I'm quite sure there are more challenges, but I consider that already as an accomplishment.
So for our viewers, Attorney Ibs Silongan is my sorority sister. So we this is the first time that we talk. This is the first time I have heard her voice. So when she posted something being a trans, I was like, she's a trans. I thought she's a woman, because she's so skinny and like me, I'm kind of chubby. And then she's really into fashion and then when she opened that I am a trans, I want to talk to this woman because it takes
Mm,
guts to let the public know who you really are. So
true.
so when I was looking for a member of LGBTQ in America and in the Philippines, one name came first, and that's Attorney Ibs Silungan. And then when I invited her, she said, "Sure, no holds bar. You can interview whatever you want." Thank you for that. So I know you're busy. You're a lawyer, and then you have three dogs. What do you do during your spare time?
My spare time, I'm basically just like everyone else. I watch
Mhm.
TV, read a book, I go out with friends, drink. Nothing extraordinary. Very, very normal.
Being a trans.
Miss Janet,
Yes.
Miss Janet, I'd like to interject. I think every one of us, that's what we want, to
Mhm.
be normal.
Correct.
Go out where everywhere goes, be in places where everybody goes, without
Yes.
being excluded or
Correct.
barred from entering because you're different. So I'm really, really happy that I get to experience all those things.
Oh, thank you very much.
That's all that we want, right?
As long as you're happy and you have not hurt anyone, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Moving forward, can you share with the viewers if none, that's fine. If you have one person who inspires you to be Attorney Ebs Silungan.
Well, I think all my friends know it's always my mom.
Yeah.
My mom is a single mom.
Mhm.
My dad died when I was 2 years old, and then she raised us. When my dad died, we didn't see the body. He died in an ambush on the way to Malaysia.
Mhm.
Um, he died in the waters of Shasi Holo, I guess, on the way to Malaysia. So we never found the body. We never saw the body. I was 2 years old at that time, so that
Yes.
didn't really matter. But to my mom, I mean, for a wife to lose a husband and not see or recover the body, I can't imagine.
Yeah.
And then raise somebody who, a son who would eventually
Be a
be a
daughter.
transgender. Yeah. And
Mm.
it's an accomplishment. You know, if sometimes I imagine, what if I were the mother and then my child were a transgender, how would I, accept or
React.
deal with the
Yeah.
situation? Yeah. So I'm pretty much proud how my mom handled it, and she's always been an inspiration to me. I keep saying that to everyone.
That's good. That's good. Most mothers, they show a different side of them. We
Mm,
thought that they are weak, but actually, if they are given the circumstances, they are stronger than we
mm.
thought they are.
I think you've seen pictures of my mom. She's a very traditional, conservative Muslim.
Okay.
So for somebody who is that traditional and conservative to accept
Mhm.
somebody like me,
Mhm.
that's a big accomplishment, I think.
And I salute your family for accepting you who you are, because
Yeah.
when I invited you, I did the research about transgenders, and you are lucky you came out in the open when young. There are a lot of transgenders. They have kids, they retired, and then they got out of the open because they are
Yeah.
confused. Am I transgender or not? So they have 3 or 5 kids, and then they retired, and then
Hmm.
they want to accomplish being, what is their body is calling for, because it is not beyond, it is beyond your control. It is hormonal.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
said that I can ask you any question, so I am asking, how
Okay.
is your love life? You can answer negative.
um well, I used to see someone,
Okay.
I think, yeah, around 2 years, 2017 was the last, and then I went out with other guys afterwards, but no one really serious, nothing really serious. But I'm still hoping. I still have my whole life ahead of me, and I'm still hoping I still find someone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much that.
Yeah, it is just there around the corner. So when I
I
was
hope
yeah,
so.
so when I was doing my research, I know a lot of transgender, they experience depression because they're confused of who they really are. So how do you experience
Hmm.
depression and how you deal with it?
Um, I think the depression is pretty much the socialization part,
Mm-hmm.
because there are still people who do not accept us. But
Correct.
you know what? Luckily, in the Philippines, it's the transphobia and the homophobia is not as pronounced as in other countries where there are. Well, there's also violence involved here in the Philippines, but not as pronounced as
Yeah.
the hate crimes that are committed let's say, in the United States or
Yeah.
in Europe. But I think the depression more is more of a how to um, realize our aspirations, and usually I deal with it by focusing on the things that I can control, like my job. And surprisingly, um, when you build on the things that you have, when you
Mm-hmm.
try to notice them,
Mm-hmm.
appreciate them,
Mm-hmm.
it leads you from one thing to another, and then
Mm.
somehow you survive, rather than if you focus on what's not there, what is difficult,
Like
what's you
negative
know
thinking,
yeah,
negative attitude.
the
Yes.
negative stuff. Yes, pretty much like that. It's pretty much like that's how I also cope. And of course, a lot of self-help books.
Yeah.
Yeah, that they help me pretty much in coping with the challenges of being a transgender.
Yeah. And there's only one word I can share with you. I salute you. For me, it's
Thank
not
you.
easy. It's not easy because my son, it took 2 years for him debating whether I will tell my mom. I know I will hurt my mom, but would I tell him?
Yeah.
He was like 15. or 16 years old. And
Oh,
I blame myself because I don't know how to deal with this kind of, confusion. And I
yeah.
was thinking it is just a phase. It will just, it will be gone. But it's not. So it was
Mm-hmm.
explained to me by their school that it's hormonal, it's beyond Jai's control. And as a mother, you have to accept, like, oh, I did not know that there's such thing as hormonal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so naive. And I salute all these people who came out. I have a friend, he has 2 or 3 kids, and then he was married. And you know what he did? He had a relationship with other guy, but he took and petitioned the wife here. So the wife is here. It's more on acceptance. It is more on acceptance. I know I
Yeah.
hate to cut this interview, but can you share some inspirational thought with our viewers?
Um, I, I have something to share, Miss Janet.
Hmm?
Um, when I was still in law school, I was just really studying, but
Hmm?
I didn't really expect that I would be a lawyer or that I would enjoy lawyering because I really couldn't see myself practicing, you know, the way I am now. Surprisingly, when I got into lawyering, when I got into practice, um, the courts in the Philippines, they're not, exactly how I feared they would be. They're very accommodating, they're very helpful. So it was a big surprise. I'm very, very thankful to the partners in the law office, Attorney Angela Librado, Attorney Leia, Attorney Antoinette Principe. They're very, very accommodating of me. I never applied for this job. They just, hey, you want to join us? And, life turned out differently for me. I mean, I've heard of trans people getting killed or,
Exactly. Mhm.
not being able to find a job or um, her trying to hurdle one difficult circumstance after another. It's kind of very different for me. And maybe because I think um, number one, I'm a
Mhm.
very prayerful person.
Mhm.
And number two, from all the self help books that I have read and all the um, effort that I have attempted to do in order to understand me or life, or, I just basically followed trying to, be good and trying to do good and trying to focus on the beautiful things in life, stuff
Mhm.
like that, rather than focus on the negativity. It's just as basic as that.
Yeah.
I know it may seem very difficult to do for others, but I Einstein said the simplest answer is most usually the correct one. So I think you have to go back to that simple thing.
Yeah, because the community, the LGBTQ community, they don't just need understanding; they also need
Yeah.
acceptance. We are all
Yes.
humans, regardless of your
Mm-hmm.
race, regardless of your color, regardless of where you are, where you came from. We are all humans, and LGBTQ, they're all humans. I am
Yes.
so proud of where you are now, Attorney Ibs Silungan, and thank you very much for saying yes when I invited you. And I'm so proud of you. Thank you for sharing intellectual thoughts and inspiring thoughts. And do you want to say anything? Or that's it?
That's it.
Oh, that's
Thank
it.
you so
Okay.
much for having me here, Miss Janet, and thank you for initiatives like this for bringing our voice to other people. Somebody might catch this video, and who knows, we could inspire them or even save a life. That there are other possibilities that people should explore, transgender people should explore, like
Yeah.
lawyering and other fields.
Yeah.
And I'm very much thankful for platforms like the program that you are doing, because it
Oh, thank you very
brings,
much. Because
yeah, yeah,
most transgenders, they are scared to come out in the open, so they're keeping it to themselves,
yeah.
especially if they are bosses or
Mm-hmm.
their supervisors. And again, ladies and gentlemen, Attorney Ibs Silungan, and this is Janet Jordy at Global Inspiration. Need to be seen, need to be heard and be an inspiration to others. Thank you very much. Maraming salamat.
Thank you.